If you hear a voice within you say you cannot paint, then by all means paint, and that voice will be silenced. So that is a quote by Van Gogh, who evidently also had an inner critic. So the thing with the inner critic is that every artist has the inner critic. Actually, every human being has an inner critic, because the inner critic is a function of your mind. It's a function of your brain to basically keep you safe. That is the plan of the inner critic. It wants to keep you safe. So the reason, or the way that it does that, is it continues to ask the question, what if? And it's a negative Nelly, so it's always looking at the downside of things. So it's always asking, what if they don't like me? What if they don't accept me? What if I'm not good enough? What if I fail? What if my parents disown me? All these kinds of questions that try to pull you away from doing anything that basically makes you vulnerable, or it feels that it's making you unsafe. So I'm going to give you a couple of tips in this video of how to get around your inner critic and how to deal with your inner critic. So there are two phrases I want to share with you. The first one is, thanks for sharing, and then you move on. The reason this phrase is important is that your inner critic is only an opinion. It is not cold hard fact. So your inner critic is like an overreactive parent who's trying to protect you. So they're saying, don't do that. Hey, be careful. Hey, watch out for that thing. And they're basically, it's overreacting, and it's just an opinion. So when you know it's an opinion, you don't have to take it on board. You can say, thanks for sharing, but I'm going to do this anyway. The second one is, when you've decided to do something that you know is good for your art practice and your life, you've consciously made a decision you want to do it, the inner critic will try and convince you not to do it, and all you need to do is drown it out by saying, don't think, don't think, don't think, don't think, don't think. And you continue to say that as you take the action, and soon enough the inner critic kind of gets bored, and you know you're not listening to it, so it goes away. It's not getting the attention it wants, so it just kind of, it takes a hike. So there are two phrases you can use. On this page, you can download the worksheet for the inner critic mastery. So I ask you 3 questions in that. The first one is, list a couple of phrases that your inner critic says to you. So this is just to get an awareness of what the inner critic might be saying to you at the moment. The second question is about creating affirmations. So these are things like, I'm a great singer, or I'm a dedicated artist, or I always finish what I start. Things like this, that when the inner critic pops up and says, hey, you're not good at this song, or writing this song, you're never going to finish it, you can go to that affirmation which says, I always finish what I start, and it'll push you through. Then the third question is about writing down 3 things that you've achieved that you're proud of. So this might be related to your art practice. So I had a great exhibition, I released my album, I've written 30 songs. Something that you're proud of. It can also be something outside of your creative practice, like I jumped out of an aeroplane, or I lived in a foreign country for a couple of years. Whatever it is, something that you've achieved that you're proud of. So this is like proof that you're able to do things when you really set your mind to them, and that you're a capable, competent person. All right, so what I want you to do is download that worksheet, print it out, fill it out, keep it with you when you're doing creative work, and whenever the inner critic pops up, you turn to this sheet and you basically just start reading the affirmations and the achievements, and you just keep reading over and over them until the inner critic is convinced that you're awesome, and it goes away. Cool. So go ahead and do that. It's a really powerful tool. So I want to leave with a couple of key things to remember about your inner critic. You are not your mind, and your mind is not you. When you can create that separation, it gives you access to be in power with your inner critic. Which brings me to the second point, which is you must take control and responsibility for your own consciousness. So this is important as a creator, as an artist, but generally as a human being. So you have to take control and full responsibility for your own consciousness, because no one else can do that for you. And then the last thing is, no thought lives in my head rent free. So you have to remember that you're in control, and if there's a thought that is not supportive to you, you don't have to believe it, and you can evict it at any time. So you're in control, you're in power. So I hope that's helpful when it comes to inner critic stuff. You can download my free ebook, which talks about this key, the inner critic mastery, and it also talks about 6 other keys to a prolific creative practice. So download that also for free on this page. And then the last thing is, please share your comments below. So share what has been your experience with your inner critic. Does it continue to take you out? Have you worked out ways of dealing with it? Also share a couple of the phrases your inner critic might use on you to keep you in your comfort zone, and any strategies that you've come up with that really help with your inner critic. So I'd love to hear from you, and also the rest of the creative community would love to hear from you. It really helps other people feel that they're not alone on this journey with their inner critic. So thanks heaps for watching. I'll catch you really soon. Remember that your art matters, so go and create.